Lucy birds. Lucy birds. Well, hello, Lucy birds. How you doing today? I bet you want some snackies, don't you? Okay. Oh, what you doing over there? Ooh. Yep, we're gonna need some more. Well, hello everybody. I'm gonna do a little update video. It's been a few weeks since I posted anything, and I'm just getting home after breakfast, and I get some eggs. So I want to make a video and telling you how things are going here at the garden. It's obviously it's fall now, so it's been cold. We got daylight savings, so somehow we gained an hour. Excuse my hand in the middle of the camera there. You see Lucy bird? Hi, Lucy bird. Hi, Lucy. Oh, look at that. You got some eggies. No, he's trapped in here. Oh, sorry. Hold on. So we got Lucy bird out of there. So what we got going on here is it's winter time, so I'm wearing a hoodie, so it's easier to collect these eggs and stick them in my pouch. But the coop is doing just fine. We still got our little cat kennel in there, just randomly in there. But it is a good point that if I don't check these eggs, we have like 22 chickens now. If I don't check these eggs throughout the day, they end up getting too many in one spot and they end up crushing them. And I think some of our white leghorns, wherever they are, one of these girlies, I've seen them actually attack other chickens' eggs. So if we checked the eggs 2-3 times a day, we seem to get all of them. And they are slowing down for the day, for the year. So we're not getting as many, but we're still getting about a dozen a day. So that's pretty good. It's got a preset bunch of little egg cartons in there. It works pretty good. Now once it gets really cold, we won't be able to leave them out here like that because they'll freeze. So we'll probably still do the same thing. Maybe we'll just switch to checking twice a day. Excuse my reach again. We'll check probably twice a day then in the winter. Probably get 10 to 12 eggs each day, which is plenty for the winter, I think, because we got a stockpile of 18 dozen eggs, and those will keep for 3 months at least. So doing pretty good. Had to remember to check my pouch and get rid of the eggs. But how's the forest going? How is your forest going? Let's take a look at mine. So for any returning viewers, you'll kind of understand where I'm at. For anybody visiting the channel for the first time, this chicken coop and yard is kind of in the offset center of the property. My house is right over there. There's parking on either side. And we have dozens of fruit trees and berry bushes and random maples. We source from Edible Acres in New York, larger nurseries like Stark Brothers. We've saved apple trees from Walmart and managed to prune them down. There's a whole stand of peaches and apples. Those are doing really well. I did want to mention we are going to be getting some limb spreaders because I want to get these apple trees down at the right angle so that they'll actually put on fruit spurs and fruit. The way that they're growing right now, I don't think they're ever going to reach the desired angle for the change in chemicals required to actually put on fruit. So I think we're going to put on fruit limb spreaders, and we'll make a video about that later. But if anybody is kind of interested in fruit trees and how they grow, definitely apples need a more parallel angle so that they create the fruit spurs to put on the fruit. But other than that, it is easier to see everything that's going on in the forest with a lot of the leaves coming down. Here we have a stand of Staghorn sumac, and those are looking beautiful. We have another apple tree here, which has grown an immense amount this year from pruning in the spring. And it looks like we have some of these limbs are from the rootstock, which is maybe not the best thing to do. Oh, it's a pear. So it'll be interesting to see next year. I might end up putting weights on some of these limbs to get them to come down a little bit. Like, I don't know, just random lead weight, kind of tie it to the side here. Maybe end up putting a limb spreader there and getting this down, because we don't want this tree to get much larger. And we also want it to actually bear fruit, so it is a lot easier to see how everything is going. And because in the summer it's just so thick and full. A lot of the seed pods of a lot of our mulberry or milkweed have fallen off, and you can see some of our Egyptian walking onions. We're gonna plant some of those right over there. We did have a lot of these maple trees spring up again around the edges of things, so that adds, you know, another source of carbon sequestration and a little matter down to the ground to fall. And kind of look through here. I guess we can walk in. This is actually a hazelnut back here, and I think this one will actually be fruiting next year. We have I don't know, a good dozen of these around. I don't see any within eye shot right now, but that's a hazelnut right there, filbert. Might be a Barcelona or some other variety. I would like to say that straight ahead is an almond, like a 3-in-1 almond. That, of course, is a bunch of maples, and that's a aronia berry right there. And I don't see anything else, but one thing we've always tried to do is we stick random cuttings in places. So this elderberry was from a cutting that I'd placed probably 2 years ago, and it has put on quite a lot. It didn't fruit this year because I think it's a European variety, but it'll definitely fruit next year. But that's a cutting. That's a cutting. So it's a really good time to look at some of these plants and just kind of remember where they are. If I wasn't so familiar, I might put like different colored tags or something on here and be like, oh, this is an elderberry or whatever else current, so that I knew which ones they were before taking cuttings. But I plant pretty wildly, so if I kind of know what kind of plant it is, I just take a whole bunch of cuttings and I'll walk around and stick an elderberry in a spot like that next to my asparagus. And then even down here, I'd walk around here, some blackberries. And there was another hazelnut in here that may not have made it. But here's blackberries back here, kind of off to the side. That's a pear. And I haven't walked too much through this area this year, kind of leaving it alone. But here's another peach right here. That's a beautiful nitrogen fixer that didn't put on any berries this year. So I'm not sure if that plant and maybe that one, if I should just cut them all the way to the ground. Because they do look really nice. I don't know, kind of like them being really tall and big. It's gives some shade to some of these areas that there's just so much sun on this property. Trying to get any sort of shade is really one of the most, important aspects that I'm trying to think of for the next couple of years. Well, let's walk over here. Like I said, this is just an update video, so not too much of a huge main topic. But it's nice to show everybody how everything changes throughout the years. Like I said, I haven't made a video in a while, and all these birdies are of age, and you can see how red their fluffers are, whatever you call them, wattles and fluffers, whatever. So they're all laying eggs. But these white ones, one of them was a rooster, and because we had to get rid of the rooster, we gave it to another family. I don't know if they're still a bit territorial or they're angry at me, but I think I've seen them actually attacking the other eggs. So they're pretty and they're nice and all that stuff, except for the egg thing. We'll keep them around. They've all, you can see we got 22 chickens, so if you're trying to size things out, kind of give you an idea of how much space they really need. When they all bundle together at night when it's cold, they'd fit right in here. So you wouldn't need a huge coop to keep a flock of 22 chickens warm. They'd probably break off in a couple of different groups, but they'd be able to survive, especially in a walled in space like that. They'd be perfectly fine over the winter. So I guess one last project that we made a little bit of progress on is this kind of flowering quince area. I haven't seen very much fruit on these quince bushes. The flowering quince have little yellow fruit, and I was hoping that if I went through here when the leaves were down, it'd be easier to see the fruit, but it might have already really been eaten by wildlife. But this is a whole stand of flowering quince in here, intermixed with some alder and maple and random weeds and stuff. Here's a mulberry we've been hacking on for a while. This is actually a really cool show of when you prune something like an alder or a mulberry, how it just dung 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 dung. You cut it here, cut it there, and it just multiply, and do really a rat's nest. So I would actually expect there to be a bird's nest here next year. You know, one of those crotches there. Yeah, it's a cool. Let me get over the sun here. Look, I like working with them because they grow back so fast. It's hard to kill. Not sure if this is a male or a female, but I think it'd be really cool if we could manage that height, maybe with a midsummer prune next year, because this is all going to be huge next year. Midsummer prune next year around the summer solstice, get it all down. Then maybe we'll have a lot of fruit earlier in the year from that. But no, we've added some more wood chips to this whole area, so it's a lot more open and easy to get through. Some of these trees will definitely be encroaching quite further. So this apple might end up kind of having a squeeze between an apple and that pine tree, or spruce, birch, whatever that is. But no, we have a number of different evergreens through the space that'll really fill it in and hopefully block some of that. And speaking of birds' nests, oh, maybe they'll come back next year. So yeah, I think it's really cool. Originally we were just going to make this a seating area, but we ended up just wrapping this around because we have our sunchokes here. So there's all sorts of, I don't know, I think they're growing decently well under here. There's a few meals in the ground there. And we kind of come through here. This is one of them trees, aprium, I do believe. Oh, actually, that's a plum. So not an aprium, just a plum. Remember to check your tags. This one, not doing too bad. This is a much larger tree when we had bought it, so I did a big center cut this spring. You see, you probably trim that off. A couple of these inner branches in the spring, right here. Other than that, I'm gonna do a little tidying up some of these. We'll leave it mostly the way it is. It's in a pretty good spot. I think that's a silky dogwood. Yeah, I think it's coming along pretty well here. Got a big currant right here, and another currant there. We might actually be thinking about digging up this currant in the spring. We're gonna do a workshop, and I was thinking about putting that in a really large pot, and then have people at the workshop take cuttings from this, maybe I'll bring a currant and an elderberry, and then just have people take snaps like that and stick them in pots. Maybe grab bigger pieces so it looks more like a plant, I suppose. Yeah, I just think that'd be kind of cool. Bring a couple of plants and just show how easy it is to multiply a plant. Because it's easy to go, well, if I hack all this way to the ground, like, yeah, I guess I could plant a couple of these, but then I'll just have sticks. It's like, no, this plant, after you prune it in the spring, will be just about the same size by the end of the year. Plus, you'll have 25 other plants that are on their way to being that big the following year. So, very nice. Nice change of color in the fall here too. Yeah, very cool. I hope it makes it a little bit easier for the viewer to get a better idea of what's going on in here. To see things, it helps me to, a lot of times I'm walking the mailbox or going to grab some eggs. So I don't always get time to come out here and just ponder or soak in some of the plants that are in here, some of the color changes. Those are miraculous pawpaw. This thing just keeps coming back. That's the biggest it's been in 5 years. Come on, little buddy, you can make it through the winter, not die back, not have to come back from the rootstock. Isn't that pretty though? Very pretty. If you can keep growing like this in like 17 years, no, maybe 7 years, I can get some food from you. Keep going. Random tree that, yeah, got from random neighbor. We couldn't take it out properly, so yeah, it'll feed the soil. I guess it could come back, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. Here's another apple. I think it's just a native. I think it just kind of sprung up on its own. Well, I've tried to prune it a little bit, get it to branch off. Maybe we'll tidy it up. Yeah, it must be a named variety because there's not. Generally, there's huge sharp spurs that are coming off here that aren't the fruiting spurs off of the native plants that I've seen on this property. So I'm guessing this must be some sort of variety. I don't see a tag though. That's not too surprising because there was a tag. If it's not hanging, it's in there somewhere. But gonna be a plum, native plum that we had planted, and there should be a service berry. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. No, I'm not sure. Because, let me show you what else I'm thinking of. Because there's this area, and then right over here I'd planted a native plum. Let's see, where was it through here? On the wrong spot. Because this elderberry got so big, there was a walkway through here. That's a cherry, elderberry, random maple. Yeah, the walkway is right here, okay. Yeah, because here's our Ronia berry and Queen Anne's lace. There's a plum. See that? Yeah, it should be either a plum and a service berry. I guess I'm not very good at seeing the difference in the leaves. But this is one plant right here. Yeah, it looks like it's decided to come back from the root base. Yep, that's what happened now. So it'll be cool watching these two grow, because I think one was a service berry and one was a plum from our local native plant society, and I wanted to leave them for most of the year to see what happened with them. And then we planted this cedar kind of as a marker. So as things grow up, we have our perimeter of evergreens. And then in the middle, we've kind of placed a couple of different varieties and types of plants to kind of give some sort of blockage and help it not look so bare in the winter. Ugh. Oh, look at that thing. Jeez Louise. Wow. Yeah, take a look at this. What is this all about? Uh-oh. Oh no. Oh jeez. Holy smokes. Maybe I shouldn't be touching anything. I'm sorry, buddy. I don't know how to help you now. I don't know how to help you now, buddy. Well, I guess blame it on the deer. Maybe it'll be okay. Yeah, interesting. So there's a whole bunch of damage down there. And then, it's putting on a show. It's also managed to put off this other growth, and then this one, and then that one that I just broke. So, okay. Yeah, it looks like, yeah, just some regular damage. And some regrowths, okay. Yeah, that's a really pretty color. It stands out wildly in this area. Yeah, right next to another apple. See how it just wants to grow tall. But I want you to grow fruit right here and here. Yeah, we got a couple of things, because some of these trees that we have, I planted like a named variety, and then like it struggled after a winter. So then when I saw that it was sending a shoot up, I decided one of the trees looked like it's gonna die anyways, so let me not cut the shoot, because it might still be like a usable fruit. But in all cases, it'll be a usable plant for the area, because it produces a lot of leaves that grow fast. You know, there's many more purposes or functions for a tree to exist. So, so I think that's what one of those is. I think that's the name variety came into its own, and we got a couple of the rootstock variety coming down underneath there. So yeah, in this spring we'll take a look at it, see how all the branches feel and how they look, and which ones got buds on them, and see which ones are coming back, and make another decision on that. So they might get trimmed back. We might try to make this into spottier. I don't know, bend it all 45 degrees, 90 degrees. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Well, that's one of the great things about this property. So we got a whole bunch of different plants, like this cherry tree that will produce fruit this year. There's another apple. We got our requisite comfrey, which is required in all food forests in the lower 48. Beautiful nitrogen fixer. We have so many different varieties and different contexts. We got this thing, I'm not sure what it is, but it's super green. It looks like it's going to flower here in November. So another pollinator food source for whoever wants to eat that kind of plant. Yeah, there's such a huge variety of stuff that there's always something green, there's always something flowering, there's always something giving off seed. There's always something expanding and growing. So just like these chickens, the forest is doing pretty well. So I suppose that's where I'll leave you as I check my hair, sure I'm doing all right. Appreciate you watching. Hope everybody's enjoying their fall. It's beginning of November, so starting to slow down business wise, but we got a couple of big jobs that we got to finish this month. And so hope everybody's enjoying their garden. If you have any questions that maybe I can help you with, let me know. If you have any requests, or if you just want a montage of 17 straight hours of chickens, I can set up a camera and a power source. So that's all I got. So thank you very much again, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Sorry if I sound like a bit of a broken record, but this is why we plant out food forests. We add different varieties and all sorts of stuff. So in the middle of October,